I think we've indicated that certainly all of these things, be it domestic violence or child sexual abuse, simply cut across economic and class lines. But now there has to be a pattern in terms of what we're dealing with here. And let's talk about some of the things that you identify within that pattern in child sexual abuse and in domestic violence.
Well, we talk about patterns. I guess we know that everyone does not sexually abuse their children. We say that everyone might have the propensity to do that, but they don't do it. So it has to be certain stresses in a person's life, and it might be something that's internal in that person that would cause them to, under certain circumstances, touch their own children or stepchildren, or it might be a sibling. We got adolescents now having to do that. Statistically, it says probably about 50% of the men who sexually abuse their children were probably abused as children themselves. It might be a little higher depending on where you are in the country, where that happens. And in my work, and I work with men who offend children also, I've been doing a group for 8 years now. And they said about 50% of them were sexually abused themselves. And there's some impulse control problems going on with that person also. It's a power issue going on also. So there's a lot of things that you can see that leads up to it, but it doesn't come to anyone's attention until something actually happens. Mm-hmm. So there's a need to do a lot of preventive work and to kind of know what some things to look for. So people have to kind of know for themselves, I might be running into some problems here if I'm having this, or this is happening to me, and this type of thing.
Well, what are some of the power, you mentioned some of the power issues and some of the things that you're dealing with, and all of those things that you're saying is good, those things are good, but some of the things that you're alluding to, you're not telling us here, Ms. Butler. What should you say when we say that there's a power issue involved? What are we saying, that there's an issue between the child and the person who was abused?
The person might have lost control outside of the home in other places. Say they might have lost a job or something, or there's some power been taken away in some other situation. It might be some societal pressures that's going on. But a person can feel that they're in control of their own home. A lot of men who abuse their children won't even go outside their home and deal with the prostitute or deal with someone else. They have a lot of some ethical things that's going on. So it's just losing control in one area and trying to gain control in another area. It's one problem that we see with this. It could be arousal type of pattern. There has been a problem with their arousal patterns, where there's some deviant arousal behaviors going on that they can't control, or maybe not even know it until it gets out of hand. Sometimes it's some gradual things where pornography plays a big role in this. They've been viewing pornography, have really gotten into maybe some peeping, maybe seeing children undressed inappropriately, and not knowing that this has been a problem for me until they actually first touch a child. Also seeing that when we get men in their 20s and 30s, they might have gotten charged with it. Once they get into a program, into treatment, we say, when was the first time you had those thoughts, or the first time you touched a child? It usually starts at adolescence. So we know that now that it starts at adolescence, so that's the place we need to start preventing, and that's where treatment should start in an early age. And it's even getting earlier now than adolescents. We got some 10, 11-year-olds who have actually touched their siblings. So we can kind of deal with it there. We get a better hold on it.
Very good. Ms. Cannon.
The common denominator, I think, for perpetrators of domestic violence is, again, a power and control issue. That they're violent toward their partner because it does enable them to gain power and control over her. It doesn't create a loving relationship or one based on trust, but it does allow him to have control of her. And then other forms of controlling behaviors can be used to maintain the power and control once it's obtained by means of the violence, such things as emotional abuse, economic abuse, isolation, keeping her away from friends and family, using the children, saying bad things about her to the children, male privilege, that whole notion that just because I'm the man in this house, I'm king of the castle, and whatever I say goes, I rule the roost here. Those sorts of things can be used, and they always point to the fact that the violence can happen again. All of those nonviolent things that I mentioned may occur in homes where there's not been any violence, but once that violence has happened then those abuses always point to the fact that violence could occur again, and hence there's that much more strength in that form of abuse.
So once it happens, there's a strong possibility that it will happen again.
Yes.
And those persons